Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Just finding out. So Cinco de Mayonnaise is in May, right? So that's gone. So I was wondering if there was a particular reason that Canelo had to fight in September. Because it could be the nail in the coffin for the Eubank fight, as far as Chris is concerned. Talk is, if it's going to happen, it's going to have to happen in the UK. Eubank doesn't have the credibility to make a fight with Canelo in America right now. It doesn't make financial sense. But there's already a big boxing event in London that same month. AJ and Dubois must be closing in on 90,000 tickets, or surpass that already. You can't hold 2 stadium events in London in 1 month. So that could be the nail in the coffin for that.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
So obviously David Adeley's pulled out. How do you feel about it? I know you got to focus on that, but...
Yeah, man. No comment for that, brother. No comment at the minute. Talk to me after the fight when I got this out of the way.
Okay.
I speak about my man, but mess around, man. Mess around.
Okay, then listen.
Some people are serious fighters. Some people are not serious in the game, you know what I mean? So.
Oh, well, there you go then.
Solomon Dacres said he was in camp since January. He was defending his English title against David Adeleye. Adeleye pulled out shortly before the fight was scheduled in May. It was rescheduled for this Saturday, the 20th of July. And once again, a late pullout from David Adeleye and Michael Webster. He replaces David Adeleye. We'll talk about Michael Webster a little later. But 2 pullouts from Adeleye. Eyebrows are raised, as far as I'm concerned. He's left Frank Greaves, his old trainer. He's now with Adam Booth. David hasn't fought since last October when he was stopped in 7 by the British champion Fabio Wardley. Sometimes making that comeback after a conclusive defeat can be a little tricky. Psychological, probably more than physical for someone David's age. He's only 27. And we've seen Danny Dubois come back from defeats to JOYCE and Alexander Usyk, and now he's IBF champion, defending his title against Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium. So defeat can be overcome, and maybe he needs to look at his stablemate Dubois as inspiration, David Adeleye. And Dubois is younger than David Adeleye, actually. He's 26. Adeleye is 27. I have a feeling, though, we'll see him back at a lower level than Solomon Dacres. I'm not saying Solomon is elite, but he's the English champion, the big lad. He can box a little. He boxed for England as an amateur. Peter Fury's been saying how durable he is. He's been in Peter Fury's camp with Matty Harris, and I'm assuming Huey. And I think a lot of people overlook that these fights are not easy. It's not easy. And that's not to say Solomon Dacres is elite. He hasn't found his feet as a pro. Yeah, we'll see David Adeleye back at a lower level than Solomon Dacres. And there is a level below Solomon Dacres. Trust me, there is. But yeah, Solomon, the interview is in the description box. And, you know, like, you can rely on October Red to put in a real interview, ask real questions, where she can solicit the information and keep the conversation flowing. She asked Solomon about the critics saying he needs to up the gears. Are you conscious of that? And she's also asking about, well, you know, the public like to see knockouts. They like to see people finish their opponents. Are you wary of that, or do you just close it out and do what you're doing? And they're very good questions. With only 2 stoppages in 8 wins, no defeats, he could be a late bloomer, but he's 30, so better start blooming. The interview's in the description box. He admitted he's not the finished article. And he takes on Michael Webster in what is a rematch of their fight from November last year, where Solomon was making the first defense of that English title. This was Solomon's Queensberry debut. Eddie Hearn didn't match the matching right to keep Solomon at Matchroom. And some say he dodged a bullet, because Michael Webster went into that fight 9-0 with 6 stoppages. He's won a fight since then. He was unlucky not to get that decision. Solomon had no snap in his punches, didn't put his punches together. Michael was forcing the pace, and he was the one looking to put power behind his punches, and he made the fight. And I think he should have got the decision. Now, once again, Solomon said Michael was a late call-up, I believe, and that he wasn't training at full tilt. He was just ticking over. But then you have to ask yourself, if Michael was a late call-up, how do we know he was training at full tilt? And it's the same situation now. Yes, Solomon has had a full camp with 2 postponements with David Adeleye. So he's going to have to switch his mindset from the opponent he's been training for from January to Michael Webster. Not an easy task, admittedly. But at least he has had a full camp. And he can't use late replacement as an excuse because Michael Webster didn't know he was getting a fight till a week ago either. So this time we're going to see what he's about. He's fought the guy already. So it's not like he doesn't have no inside track on what he can do. He's went 10 rounds with him. November gone. He'll be expecting a performance. I'm sure Frank Warren will be expecting a performance. But it's not an easy task because I believe Michael Webster beat him last time. And he's going to be aggressive. Michael Webster, he's had 1 win since then. Let's see if Solomon can improve on what he did last time, even though I don't think he won that fight. At best for Solomon, I would have scored it a draw. This takes place in Birmingham on Saturday.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
The headlining act is the British middleweight champion Nathan Heaney. He takes on Brad Paul. Another rematch from another controversial fight. First fight, controversial. Heaney, quicker feet. Put together some nice combinations. I think he was a little shocked by Brad Paul's up jab, which thudded into his face. In the 8th round, when Brad Paul had Nathan in trouble, Nathan's gum shield came out, and the referee should have looked for a lull in the action to replace Nathan Heaney's gum shield. And you could argue he saved Nathan from getting stopped. Not saying he would have got stopped, but you know, the chance came and went. I was saying they should run it back, and they're going to run it back Saturday. Nice one. Straight away. A lot of fighters and promoters should take notice. Controversial fights, close fights, should be ran back ASAP. ASAP. I think Heaney will be sharper this time around and take a points win. But don't write Brad Paul off.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
I won't say I worry for the youth. They do what they want. As far as they're concerned, they invented the wheel. All that old school shit is played. And we know about harassing the mother of his children, the social media posts, blaming everybody for his failed PED tests, his racial outbursts and his religious outbursts. I mean, I'm not going to go for it all. But it's the hotel incident at the Waldorf, I believe, in June. He done $15,000 worth of damage, and they're saying it could be up to a year. That'll be the maximum he'll do, a year in prison. He's saying he can't go to prison. And this is what I'm talking about. This virtual world is a fuck, bruh. It really is. You, me, Ryan Garcia, you can't fight the whole world. You got to pick some of your battles. When you're about to get processed and put in that system, you've got to get solicitors, wear a suit to court. You might need character witnesses to aid your case. You got to keep your mouth shut. You can't come out here and say, I'm not going to jail, because they'll make an example of you. This is what the system will do in any country, because you're showing rebellion. That's what you're doing. Oh, you're just going to damage up property, terrorize women, be cursing and shouting and screaming. Then you said you were taking drugs prior and after your fight, drinking at the weigh-in. They'll make an example of you. Ryan's got to learn to shut the fuck up. But he's got them cheerleaders around him, keep revving him up, pumping him up. Ryan can do anything he wants. Yeah, he can, including destroy his own life. And, I don't know if anyone's going to understand the correlation of what I'm saying here. I'm watching that Drake-Kendrick Lamar back and forth battle. And there's people who want Kendrick to end this guy's career. Not just win the battle, but end his career. And I guess that mentality has always been in hip-hop. And has always been in society. And there's a lot of people who want to see Ryan destroy his career, destroy his life. But the better deal for society, if I'm being selfish, is if he gets a grip and starts acting like an adult.
I wish you'd act like an adult.
And that starts with shutting your mouth. Just like you learn how to box, the art of shutting your mouth. Especially in this social media paradigm that we're in. Would I call it a skill? It's a good discipline anyway. To shut your mouth. Not post up every thought in your head. Not run to social media with everything. Just to shut your mouth. Not let everyone know what you're thinking. To the theory that sometimes it's got to get worse before it gets better. So maybe a few months in that cell where you will have to shut your mouth. Because both the wardens and the inmates are somewhere they don't want to be. You'll have to exercise a bit of decorum and zip it up. You better not be screaming you're going to f people's wives in jail. You need to dial that down. When you said he was going to rehab, he should have went to rehab. What did he do? He went to his exes who's got his kids, threatening people. They're going to make an example of you. That's what they're going to do. You know, his so-called friends who swear blind that they're so smart. What, you didn't tell him to go back to the hotel or phone at the hotel, settle out of court and pay off the damages? No. It's bad enough they're making the spillages. They're not even attempting to clean them up.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes. Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
Undefeated.
Let's talk, man. Let's talk. So
Daniel
things got...
Dubois. So what's Daniel Dubois VAR situation?
So
is that
talk,
VAR situation?
It's not that, but it's like something was added to the chat this week that wasn't there before, and it's done a little, not damage, but it's made you go, that's interesting. So KD, that's gonna have it. So KD from 258 Management, he tweeted this week. He goes, "Yo, when is Daniel Dubois gonna sign up to the VADA program? We're waiting." And I'm like, "Oh, that's." What do you mean, the VADA program? And naturally, speculation goes, well, he has looked good in his last 2 fights. Seemingly out of nowhere. It's not.
Interesting point from Trav from the Undefeated podcast. Big them up, sub the channel. Yeah, he has looked very impressive in his last 2 fights. He has. Someone has been in my comment section a couple of times recently, speaking about the June the 1st Matchroom versus Queensberry card, and that VADA haven't reported on social media or on their website that the fighters have completed VADA testing. They haven't seen it. So perhaps we need that to get cleared up. Daniel Dubois beat Hrgovic on that card. Some people are saying he's cycling off, but what didn't surprise me is how some people turned this into an anti-Matchroom moment. Look at Matchroom, look at 258, I should say, throwing their weight about, making accusations, which are baseless. Well, they're not really baseless. How long has Eddie been speaking about he's the only British promoter who uses 2 layers of testing on his cards? Let me straighten that out. 2 layers of testing for British fighters on any card. They get UCAD and VADA. People are assuming that Frank Warren and Ben Shalom's fighters are using 2 layers. But why would they? They're not obligated to use VADA on them Riyadh season cards. The British Boxing Board of Control have been the governing body for the Riyadh season cards. They don't recognise VADA. Now I'm assuming Fury was VADA tested when he fought Alexander Usyk because he's got a WBC strap. They've got a clean boxing program that's connected to VADA. But that don't mean the rest of the Queensberry fighters on May the 18th were tested by VADA. How many fighters have got popped fighting Anthony Joshua? Dillian. Whether he's managed to clear up the last violation or not. Obviously you've got Jarrell Miller. And weirdly enough, UCAD are talking about Robert Helenius today getting a 2-year ban. Did he test for clofamine post-fight Anthony Joshua? How are we just getting this news back he's getting banned now? That fight was ages ago. When did AJ fight Robert Helenius? August last year. It's because AJ's been pretty active, it seems, further back. But still, that's nearly a year after the violation. You're reporting that he's banned today. Don't think I ain't noticed that TalkSport never covered this. I'm not saying they should accuse Daniel or anything, but they could cover the story, couldn't they? Surely. But then again, you know what the line is there. Simon said he backs UCAD as the better doping agency over VADA. All you got to do is a little research and you'll find out that UCAD is so far behind VADA. Night and day basically. Simon Jordan and Robert Smith from the board are best friends, innit? Simon said he had private conversations about Conor Benn's PED case with Robert Smith.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes. Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
ZHILEI, he's convinced that Anthony Joshua will never fight him. AJ's a cash cow. He doesn't want to fight ZHILEI. Well, look, you know, AJ beat him in the Olympics, floored him, outpointed him. Zhang's 41. Time could be running out for him. Getting a little desperate, perhaps. Didn't Jared Anderson recently say that Zhang turned down a fight with him. Don't know how true it is. But anyone can throw accusations around, I guess. He beat and faded Deontay Wilder last time out. Good win. But before that, he lost to Joseph Parker, an opponent that AJ washed on the scorecards. Good fighter, but he's not Mr. Consistent. Drew with Jerry Forrest, didn't he? Had a debatable decision loss against Hrgovic. I thought he won, but, you know, they gave it to Hrgovic. Daniel stopped Hrgovic. Lost against Parker. Hasn't been the model of consistency. Bad gas tank. I don't think AJ's ducking him. Wilder accused AJ of ducking when they had an agreement. You win your fight, AJ wins his fight. Then they were up next to fight. Wilder failed to live up to his end of the arrangement. And he still accused AJ of ducking. I believe it stops Zhang, you know what I mean? But AJ will have to prove that he can hold his shape when he gets into the 6th and 7th. And that's when he'll be able to really nasty up Zhang. It'll be a competitive fight. I'd like to see it. I would like to see the fight.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes. Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
Joe's a nice guy. I'm looking at him right now. He's a nice guy. I don't know what he's doing in boxing. You know, you're a nice guy. You're a nice fella. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing in boxing. You ain't got that streak in you. You ain't got that evenness in you. You know, you ain't got that evenness in you. You're the kind of guy who protects other people from the school bullies. You're a nice man. You're a cool guy. So what you're doing in boxing, I don't get it. You know, you need to find something else, bro, because this is not your sport. You're good at it, but you need a bit of that spine.
It's not for you to tell me what I'm good at.
No, you're good at it, but you don't have that.
Like what my aims are, my focuses are. I'm very comfortable in who I am and what I want to.
No, that's what I'm trying to say.
I appreciate that you recognise. I appreciate it.
Don't worry about it.
No, I appreciate it.
You're trying to be.
What I'm saying is, I appreciate you. You know, thinking I'm more than just a boxer.
You're trying to be something you're not, man.
I know what I am.
Derek said, Joe's a nice guy. I'm looking at him. I don't know what he's doing in boxing. He's too nice for boxing. He should find something else. He's trying to be something he's not. He doesn't have that evil streak. Joe denied it and said, you can't tell me what my plans and focuses are. But I believe Derek tapped into something. I do believe he tapped into something. I don't think Joe's aware of it himself. Joe spoke about winning a silver medal at the Olympics, which should have been gold. And Derek said, yeah, I could never get that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that times went have passed for Derek. And he said, you are good at it. Derek said, you are good at boxing. But I know what Derek's saying. Joe's not a natural. He's not a natural. You know, the George Foreman comparisons haven't aged very well, have they? It's not over for him, but how old is Joe now? 38. I've heard some people say this is a terrible fight, like it's going to be totally one-sided. I don't believe it will. I'll be shocked if it's a one-sided fight. See, a lot of people look at Derek Chisora and probably think, yeah, he's just a brawler. That's his strength, he's just brawling. When he's actually a hard target to hit, square. But I know what I'm watching on the screen, and I've been watching Derek since he fought Danny Williams for the British title. Since he fought Sam Sexton when he was undefeated, he fought him twice and stopped Sexton twice. Cash alley fight for Joe. He's not a natural. He's just not a natural. He did get the stoppage in the end though. Derek asked him, what did you think of that fight, that performance? And Joe was kind of like, well, it was a comeback fight, get the ring rust off. And that's correct too. Derek looked bored with the face-off, in all truth. He said as much as well, he was bored. Like, whoever thought it was a good idea to put Joe Joyce in the face-offs needs their ass kicked. Innit, Frank? It's a couple of weeks away. I think Joyce will win, but don't expect him to look spectacular. If he wins, I'd like to see him fight the winner out of Jared Anderson and Martin Bacoli.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes. Boxing. Beats and rhymes.